Hello, my name is Ramiro Juarez, and I am a senior here at Oglethorpe University with a biology major. Today I'll be discussing the psychological benefits of having pets, specifically dogs, as companions, but more importantly, fulfilling their caring needs and showing you guys how the way we act around our dogs has a great impact on their psychological well-being. In this outline or in this presentation, I'll be discussing why we should care about how we act around our dogs. And I'll show you the importance and the statistical significance of their effect on us and our effect on them. I'll go over some terms that will be necessary to understand. And I'll be going over um, two papers that discuss one, how the positive impact that dogs have on humans, and which will lead into how a positive mindset or positive environment and that we put our dogs in leads to their success and their mental state. And then I'll be summarizing all the points into in summarizing all the key points. So, has anybody heard of the pet effect? The pet effect is the idea of having dogs can improve human health, longevity, and psychological well-being. In the primary literature that I'll be presenting to you guys, the benefits of giving as well as receiving need support in humans, pet relations, as well as sex differences in behavioral responses of dogs exposed to human chemo signals of fear and happiness. These papers are meant to show how our dogs rely on us to have a positive psychological mindset. Dogs feed off our energy more whether we are interacting with them or not. So, have you ever realized how many dogs have the same personality trait as their owners? Well, that's not a coincidence, and I'll go into showing how greatly we can affect our dogs' mental state and confidence and fear levels. This will lead into whether they are playful or whether they can become aggressive dogs. And many times they're not aggressive because of um, because they're made that way. Many times they become aggressive because they're just scared of who they're around, and or they're unsure of who they're around. And this can be seen in this paper with the benefits of giving as well as receiving need support in human pet relations. So this paper is by Yaniv Kanat Mayman, published in June 2020. The working theory of this research is the positive psychological relations of pet ownership may be at least partially attributed to owners' provisions of need support. So, dissecting that hypothesis, pet owners benefit psychologically by feeling needed and caring for their pets. It's a sense of accomplishment that pet owners receive daily. This can be simply by walking your dog, feeding them, grooming them, or playing with them, and so on. The positive attitude is reflected greatly in dogs' behavior as well. It'll be discussed more in the next paper. But in order for the researchers to test this hypothesis, researchers base their experiment on basic psychological needs, which are identified by the self-determination theory. These are one, autonomy, two, competence, and three, relatedness. So autonomy is a state of being self-governing. Competence, the ability to do something successfully or efficiently. And relatedness is a state of being connected. Now, many owners, including myself, tend to talk to their dogs as if they were human, as if they could coherently understand what we were saying. And many of us tend to buy our dogs presents on their birthdays or gotcha days or on holidays. One of the reasons that we tend to do this is we have a strong psychological bond with our dog, and this is caused by us humans tending to anthropomorphize them, which is giving human qualities to non-human objects, in this case dogs. One of the reasons that this works so well is that our pets are not judgmental. Whether you Whatever you do for them will be greatly appreciated. And when you ask them small things like who wants to go for a walk or playing with them, they're usually ready and attentive and by your side. They're ready to spend time with you and do whatever they can with you. And this has a very positive psychological benefit on humans. So in this paper, there were a total of 104 dog owners responding to a daily questionnaire with a demographic between 16 to 74, with 76% of these people being females. And dog ownership tended to vary between 1 year all the way up to 15 years. And most of these participants did have advanced academic education, meaning they went further than high school. So they have either undergrad, grad, or PhD, and so on. The experiment uh, went over 21 days with the daily diary entries, which were at midnight, and they had a 97.5 response rate to their questionnaire. So this was able to give this allowed for researchers to have a lot of statistical significance in their data for the 104 dog owners giving back a 97.5 response rate over 21 days. So the statistical data that they used was powered by Pint V2.1 computer program. This is one of the figures that was in the paper, and it can be shown that owners that gave daily need support significantly predicted daily changes in well-being, psychological stress, and relationship quality. So it was shown that daily giving of need support was inversely related to psychological distress. Dog owners were happier when they felt a sense of accomplishment by caring for their dogs. And in this table, there are three sets. Three sets were conducted for each dependent variable. So if I can highlight this, laser pointer. So in the x-axis, we have well-being, psychological distress, and closeness. And on the y-axis, we have different variables that were calculated for them. So including giving need support, receiving need support, the amount of time, and we can see here, the main thing that I want to point out is that there was a positive relationship here with well-being. There was an increase in well-being with giving need support and receiving need support, as well as an increase in closeness and closeness with giving need support and receiving need support. And one thing, another thing that was significant was there was a negative effect. So psychological distress decreased with an increase in giving need support and receiving need support with these animals. So those are the biggest takeaways. So the B is the value, and SE is standard error, and T is T value from a T-test. So since this data was collected over 21 days with 104 participants, we can see that the P is very low. So we can concur that all of this is statistically significant, lower than 0.05. So the probability of any of this occurring randomly is very low. In the T-table, I want to point out that psychological distress was not associated uh, with giving need support. When owners felt a greater sense of well-being, they tend to be more supportive of their dog. So you can see right here, in well-being, they tended to be more supportive and receive greater need support of their dog. They also tested demographic variables like age, gender, economic status, and education as control variables, and it was shown that there wasn't a variance in any of these demographics. All owners tended to have a positive impact on well-being and closeness, with a decrease in psychological distress. So from this paper, I'd like to follow on to the second paper. If I can cancel this. There we go. The second paper, which is sex differences in the behavioral response of dogs. Oh. Sex differences in the behavioral response of dogs exposed to chemo signals of fear and happiness, which is to amplify why humans why we need to physically care and love our animals. Dogs feed off of our energy, and in this paper, they react to human stress and happiness and happiness levels. So this paper was by D. Agnello B., published in 2021 in Italy. The researchers studied how dogs reacted when their owners exhibited signs of stress and happiness. The study showed that dogs mirrored their owner's emotions. If the owner was happy, the dog would be content. And if the owner was sad or angry or exhibited signs of stress or anxiousness, the dog would significantly reciprocate those emotions or become very stressed themselves. However, dogs tended to have longer lasting effects if their owner stressed them out than, or tended to have lingering effects of high stress than if their owner, compared to how long they lasted with impacts of dopamine or happiness levels. This can be shown in one of the graphs in the paper. Right there. In the happy treatment, dogs were more likely to socialize with strangers. Oh, sorry. In on the x-axis, we have happiness, fear, controls, and male happiness, male fear, and male controls as stress behaviors. And on the y-axis, we have the how long these effects lingered. So this is showing overall that there was an effect on hormone level reaction in dogs. So in both females and males, there was a reaction to stress behaviors. There were one of the takeaways is that dogs tended to have longer the lingering effect of stress reactions or responses than they were to have than their happiness reactions to humans. This is to show that the environment that we put our dogs through impact our dogs temporarily, and they will impact our dogs in the future as well. It's it was shown that in the happy treatment, dogs were more likely to socialize with strangers and other dogs. They had greater signs of confidence, they had greater signs of trust, They interacted with other dogs um, in playful ways than in the fearful conditions. Those dogs were way more likely to shadow their owners in social settings and hide from others. They also showed higher signs of stress overall and tended to be more aggressive to other dogs, to other humans, or to anything that was unknown to them. This this is showing that. So I use these two papers to show that one, humans are affected by dogs in their stress or their emotions, and vice versa. Humans affect dogs on how they react. Dogs will mirror us if uh, dogs will mirror us in whichever way they can. So that's bringing back to my previous statement or at the beginning. There are many dogs that have the same personality as our humans. I hope you can see here that how this is the case. If some if some dogs are in a positive environment, playful, and if they're comfortable, they will tend to be more playful, be more outgoing, and be more confident overall than dogs who are in constant stressful situations, who are in households that have a lot of arguing or have a lot of conflict or constant stress or that are neglected overall. Those dogs will lash out in and sadly many aggressive ways, which have negative impacts either by someone getting hurt, another dog getting hurt, or maybe at the end of the day, the owner doesn't want to put up with them anymore and they put their dog down. So it was found that owners who gave greater need support experienced greater well being, suffered less psychological distress, and were closer overall to their dogs. So this led to their dogs being more confident, more playful, and were able to socialize, unlike dogs in the stressful categories. This suggests that giving need support is a unique form of fulfillment in it of itself. These findings go on par with other studies relating to psychological benefits of providing support to other humans and the self-determination theory. Taking care of your pet benefits your mental health as much as their mental health. However, I would like, however, um, I would like to say that there is no clear data or study um, that shows. Um, sorry about that. Never mind. Um, there's no data or study that shows that dogs completely do have those emotions toward us, that they show love or show empathy or show um, love toward us. Many times they just know how to react toward us, and or they know how to play with our feelings. They're smarter than we give them credit for. Not all people may have the same psychological benefit effect that the study shows. It's been shown that people who are more socially isolated or introverted receive greater benefits from their dogs than extroverts. However, the dogs do not tend to receive the greatest psychological benefit from introverts as they do extroverts. Second, owners that felt more well being and were more attached to their dog tended to be more supportive toward their dog. So this would grow their relationship together, which would both amplify both the human and the dog. So human interaction with is more complex than people assume. Dogs need more than just feeding and going on walks. We can definitely benefit from owning a dog. However, not every dog would benefit in some households. And we need to treat our dogs with as much love and happiness as we can. They will feed off our energy and will become more confident and playful, which will prevent them from being fearful and aggressive. I'd like to thank you guys for listening to my presentations. I do highly recommend owning a dog. I myself own a Maltipoo. That's him right there as a baby on the left. That he was about 4 weeks old, and then that's him currently now. He is about 8 human years old. So I'd like to say anthropomorphizing your dog does help us in accepting our dog and becoming happier. They're non-judgmental and accepting, and they increase our confidence levels overall. So I'd like to thank Dr. Bobby for this opportunity, and I'd like to thank you for listening as well.